You know what's funny about the Mac Mini M4? Apple created this absolutely brilliant little machine that can handle 8K video editing, run virtual machines like a champ, and basically embarrass computers twice its size. But then they put exactly 2 Thunderbolt ports on it and called it a day. It's like buying a Ferrari and discovering it only has cup holders for your coffee, not your friends. I've rounded up the 7 best hubs and stands that'll expand your Mini's capabilities without making your desk look like a server room. All the product links are down in the description, by the way. Let's dive in. First up is the Satechi Mac Mini M4 hub and stand, and honestly, this thing is the Apple product Apple didn't make. It's gorgeous, matches your Mini perfectly, and sits flush underneath like it was always meant to be there. Inside, you get an NVMe SSD enclosure that supports up to 4 terabytes, which is fantastic for storing your media library or running Time Machine backups without cluttering your desk with external drives. The front gives you 2 USB-A ports at 10 gigabits per second, a USB-C data port also at 10 gigs, plus SD and microSD card slots that actually read at respectable speeds, 312 megabytes per second using UHS 2. There's a pass-through cutout for your Mac Mini's power button, so you're not doing desk yoga every morning trying to reach around back to turn it on. The whole thing is bus-powered, meaning no extra power brick cluttering your setup. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. This uses USB 3.2, not Thunderbolt, so your speeds cap around 1000 megabytes per second for that internal SSD. That's still crazy fast for most people, but if you're moving massive video files constantly, just know it's not quite internal drive speed. For someone who wants elegant simplicity and doesn't need a million ports, Satechi absolutely nails it. Next, the UGreen Mac Mini M4 dock, which I'm convinced was designed by someone who owns every USB device ever made. This is an 11-in-1 beast with 3 USB-A ports at 10 gigabits, 2 more USB-A at 5 gigabits, 2 USB-C ports also at 10 gigs, plus an NVMe SSD enclosure supporting up to 8 terabytes. If you're the type who has external drives, a webcam, maybe a MIDI controller, a drawing tablet, and still wants ports left over, UGreen is your answer. Here's what makes UGreen smart. They included an optional DC power input. You can run it bus-powered for light use, but when you're really loading it up with devices, plug in a USB-C charger and everything stays stable. The catch? No HDMI output, so you're relying on the Mac Mini's own ports for displays. But honestly, for someone who needs maximum USB connectivity and isn't concerned about adding extra monitors through the hub, this delivers incredible value. The Minisopuru iXpandMate Mini 4 Pro is basically the I'm on a budget but still want nice things option. And there's zero shame in that game. You get an internal M.2 SSD enclosure supporting up to 8 terabytes, an HDMI output for adding a second 4K display at 60 Hz, SD and MSD card slots, and a handful of USB ports. Here's the honest part. Those USB-A ports are USB 2.0, which means they're slow by modern standards, capping at about 40 megabytes per second. But here's the thing, if you're using them for what they're designed for, keyboard, mouse, printer, maybe a USB headset, you'll literally never notice. The real value is in that massive SSD capacity you can add internally and the convenience of a second HDMI for dual monitors. Students, casual users, or anyone using their Mac Mini primarily for office work, media streaming, and light creative tasks will find this covers everything they need. Plus, it includes a power button cutout, which saves you from the daily finger gymnastics behind your machine. Now we're getting serious. The Acasis Mac Mini M4 Thunderbolt dock is what happens when engineers decide to build something without compromise. This is a full Thunderbolt 4 dock with dual NVMe SSD bays, yes, 2 of them, supporting up to 16 terabytes total with RAID configurations. In RAID 0, users are hitting 2.5 to 2.8 gigabytes per second reads, which is legitimately approaching internal drive speeds. Beyond the storage, you get 2 DisplayPort outputs that can drive dual 4K monitors at 60 Hz, 3 USB-A ports at 10 gigabits each, UHS 2 card readers, and it comes with a 30-watt power adapter to keep everything fed. Acasis even added dual cooling fans and engineered in Wi-Fi shielding, so your wireless stays stable despite all the high-speed electronics underneath. The attention to detail extends to a front power button that mechanically triggers your Mac Mini's power switch. The fans do make some noise at about 52 decibels under load, but for video editors working with 4K or 8K footage, developers running VMs off external storage, or anyone who genuinely needs maximum speed and multiple displays, Acasis is simply in another league. The RayCue aluminum hub hits a really sweet spot by trying to cover all the bases: storage, connectivity, video, and even audio. It packs an M.2 SSD enclosure up to 8 terabytes, an HDMI port for 4K at 60 Hz, 1 USB-C and 1 USB-A, both at 10 gigabits per second up front, 2 more USB-A at 5 gigs, UHS 2 card readers, and here's the kicker, a 3.5mm audio jack on the front. RayCue uses USB-C with DisplayPort Alt mode to provide that HDMI output, which is clever but does mean bandwidth is shared between video and data. In practice, if you're driving a 4K monitor through the hub and copying large files simultaneously, things might slow down a bit. But for mixed use, some productivity, some media, some creative work, it handles everything smoothly. RayCue doesn't have a power button cutout, which is probably its biggest oversight. You'll need to reach around or keep your Mini in sleep mode. But for someone using their Mac Mini as both a workstation and entertainment center, maybe outputting to a TV for movies and a monitor for work, RayCue's versatility really shines. Here's where things get vertical, literally. The Acasis Vertical 11-in-1 workstation dock is essentially the same Thunderbolt 4 powerhouse as the under Mini stand version, but in a freestanding form factor. You still get dual NVMe slots with RAID support, dual DisplayPort outputs for 4K displays, 3 USB-A ports at 10 gigabits, and the same impressive speeds. The difference is this sits beside your Mac Mini rather than underneath it, which has some advantages. First, airflow. Your Mac Mini has full ventilation on all sides, and the vertical dock's upright design helps heat rise naturally through its dual fans. Second, flexibility. This can work with any Thunderbolt device, so if you upgrade from a Mac Mini later, the dock comes with you. Third, it can drive displays at up to 4K 144Hz when using both DisplayPorts simultaneously with DSC, which is fantastic for high refresh monitors. Same caveats apply. It's a professional-grade investment, the fans make a bit of noise, and you're using one Thunderbolt port from your Mac for massive expansion. Finally, the Minisopuru iExpandMate Mini 218B Max, which is basically Minisopuru saying, okay, we heard the feedback about USB 2.0 and coming back with something much more capable. This vertical stand includes an NVMe enclosure up to 4 terabytes, but more importantly, it adds one USB-C and one USB-A both at 10 gigabits per second for actually fast peripherals. It keeps 2 USB 2.0 ports for keyboard and mouse duties, adds SD and microSD slots, and here's the impressive part: dual video outputs with both HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort 1.4. That DisplayPort even supports 4K at 144Hz for high refresh monitors. Plus, like RayCue, it includes a front audio jack for convenient headphone access. Now, to achieve dual monitors on a USB connection, Minisopuru likely uses a combination of DisplayPort Alt Mode and USB graphics technology, which means you'll probably need a DisplayLink driver for one display. That's fine for productivity work, but not ideal for gaming on that second screen. For someone who needs dual 4K monitors for office work, coding, or creative tasks, and wants fast USB ports without spending Thunderbolt dock money, this is an incredibly smart compromise. Just make sure to use the included power input when running everything to keep it stable. So which one's right for you? If you're on a tight budget and mainly need storage plus basic front ports, grab the Minisopuru 4PRO. It's perfect for everyday use. If you're drowning in USB devices and need maximum connectivity, UGreen has you covered with ports for days. For elegant simplicity and that premium Apple aesthetic, Satechi is the seamless choice. Using your Mac Mini as both workstation and entertainment center, RayCue's mix of features nails that hybrid role. When you need dual monitors on a budget with fast USB, the Minisopuru Max is your answer. And if you're a professional who needs absolutely maximum speed, multiple displays, and dual NVMe storage, whether horizontal or vertical, Acasis is the no-compromise king. Links to everything are down below. And if this helped you choose, hit that subscribe button. Now go make your Mac Mini even better.